Continuing from the previous episode 2135. Guru, is this really the power possessed by the powerhouses in the middle stage of the 8-star Do Xian? Looking at Xiao Yan, the lord of the endless fire territory in the sky, and other thunderous methods, many of the powerhouses below couldn't help but look at each other in dismay, but they were more gratified. The scene in front of them was too shocking. Even if they saw it with their own eyes, they still had a sense of unreality, as if they were just dreaming at this moment. As tyrannical as an angel of reincarnation, how could he be so vulnerable in the hands of Xiao Yan, who was in the middle stage of the 8-star fighting immortals? The power of the 3 attributes of thunder, fire and wood combined with the power of clan marks, although it is terrifying, but Xiao Yan is only the middle stage strength of 8-star fighting immortals, this is also terrible. Kai Lin, Yingying, seniors, we still have important things to discuss, let's go. As for the other powerhouses, maintain the daily order of the endless fire territory, and leave the cleanup work to you. It's work. From now on, no one will dare to provoke the majesty of our endless fire domain. Xiao Yan stretched his waist, and immediately said to the people behind him, it can be seen that although the power of the move just now was terrifying, it also caused a great burden to Xiao Yan. The domain master is mighty. The domain master is mighty. The domain master is mighty. The mighty voice spontaneously emerged from the mouths of the people on every inch of the endless fire territory. After witnessing the mighty power of the Lord of the terrifying dragon, they finally knew that their choice had not been made. Wrong. Even if the endless fire territory has just started, why worry about not flourishing with this strong man in charge? Oh, this guy is really getting more and more perverted. The two of us together may not be able to beat him. Xiao Zifen and Mu Feng grinned, but their voices were obviously extremely relieved, and there was no trace of jealousy. Let's go, now that the crisis in the endless fire territory has been lifted. I am afraid that the next crisis will be the entire continent. Kai Lin showed a rare smile, and led all the high-level executives to the endless fire territory conference room. After dozens of minutes, in the conference room of endless fire territory. It's all here. Xiao Yan sat in the first place, looked at the fellow masters who were familiar in the past, and said softly, without any pretense, very easygoing. The two of you originally recovered from Nirvana in the medicine race, but the ancient race was worried that they would be infiltrated by the Holy See envoys and had to use big means to send the two of you back. This is mainly to protect you, but they neglected one thing, which is now the matter of Angel Kelly attacking our endless fire domain. Mu Yingying stood up, her light voice filled the entire conference room, and her analysis was eloquent. Now the countless forces in the 4 continents of Duty Continent have all gathered at the headquarters of the Holy See in Doyan Continent, waiting for the time to come and fight them to the death. The divine might of the Holy See, I am afraid it will completely disintegrate this time. After a while, Mu Feng spoke, obviously he knew a thing or two about these things. I sent Lao Feng and others on my own initiative. It's my fault for this matter. Speaking of this, Kai Lin felt a little self-blame. She knew that Xiao Yan and the Holy See were in a turbulent relationship, and Feng Lao was so powerful that he could almost decide the outcome of this battle, but she forgot about the safety of the endless fire territory. Fortunately, this time Xiao Yan got out in time, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. You stay. This time I will go to the Holy See alone to join them. The Holy See's battle is probably not as simple as it seems. After talking for a while, Xiao Yan just said, from the last words of Kelly, it seems that the Holy See will have a big move this time, and it is related to the Demon of Light. But the point of involvement of the Demon of Light is probably only the Demon Emperor of the Demon World. Who is the Demon Emperor? At the level of the Overlord of the Demon World, in addition to being above the center of the Demon World, he is already the strongest in the Demon World. The strength of the Holy See Pope is even more terrifying. If Xiao Yan made a statement about it, it would be difficult for Xiao Yan to distinguish between the two. However, after all, the Demon Emperor is a strong man who has experienced the First World War. I am afraid that he is not a latecomer but comparable. You alone? Would it be a little too reckless? After all, the Holy See is a behemoth. Xiao Zifen, Mu Feng, and the others all spoke in unison, and their eyes were full of worry. Xiao Yan was very talented, but if he needed the time, as long as he was given enough time, I believed that he would definitely stand at the top. No problem. After the end of the medicine clan, thanks to the help of the Holy Sea, I was reborn into Nirvana. With the help of many powers, my internal strength has now reached the peak of the middle stage of the 8-star fighting immortal. The control of the 3 attributes of thunder, fire and wood is more thorough. Far from being comparable, Kelly's first reincarnation rank has too much strength and moisture, so it can be easily obliterated by me, but based on my guess, today's me, among the 8 stars, is invincible. Those who touch samsara can also deal with it. So don't worry. Xiao Yan's words were actually told to Kaylin and Mu Yingying, but Xiao Yan had to go to the Holy Sea of Douyin continent. After all, Xiao Yan had promised the Demon Emperor about the Devil of Light. Well, let's go down then. Now the Endless Fire territory also needs martial law, and the passage between the Ghost World and the Duty continent has not been completely established. I am just a vanguard. Soon, including our 10,000 Ghosts country, Soul Eater domain, and even Li Soul domain, some of your partners will be stationed in Endless Fire domain one after another. At that time, I am afraid that Endless Fire territory will become a real super first-class force. Hey, what are you doing? I haven't finished speaking yet? Mu Feng was talking to himself incessantly, and was extremely excited. Suddenly, a group of strong men forcibly pulled him out of the conference room, leaving the little time left to Xiao Yan and the others. After an hour, I will gather the power of the top of the Endless Fire territory and a space transfer scroll on me. It can temporarily ignore the sealed space channel and send you directly to Douyin continent. Xiao Xifen left behind such a sentence, so the calm here was restored. This time, it's my fault. The people were sparsely populated, and Kaylin also sat down from her always strong appearance and shook her head. In order to save Xiao Yan's troubles, he dispatched Feng Lao and other high-level officials, but in the end he almost put the Endless Fire territory in danger. It's not your fault. If you want to blame me. Xiao Yan knew that Kaylin had been worrying a lot all these years. He gently hugged her delicate body, stroking the 3,000 blue silk, and comforted her in a soft whisper, a scene of rare warmth. Yep, Mu Yingying, who was on the side, was also a little angry at this time, quite jealous, but she was not easy to attack. She snorted slightly, and walked away from the conference room. You girl, when did you become so angry? Xiao Yan pulled Mu Yingying into his arms, and the feeling of hugging from left to right was really wonderful. I just don't want to bother you. Mu Yingying was extremely happy in her heart, but she was reluctant to admit it. We are a family. Xiao Yan pulled Mu Yingying's slender hand with his palm and said softly. Have you controlled the 8 colors? Fusion of 2 holy flames? Xiao Yan asked at the same time. The 2 women also answered in unison, lying quietly in Xiao Yan's arms, feeling the rare warmth. After Douyi continent is over this time, we will go home. Okay, so this time, you must come back safely, and all 3 of us will be here waiting for your return. Okay, wait for me to come back. Full book TXT download address, phone reading. Continuing from the previous episode 2136. After the catastrophe of the Endless Fire territory, 3 days are passing by. At this moment in Douyin continent, every minute and every second passed extremely slowly, and this tense and depressed atmosphere made countless people dare not take a breath. If they successfully obliterated the Holy See, it would be a relief for them. Living under the rules of the Holy See for thousands of years has already exhausted them physically and mentally. Once it fails, the anger of the Holy See is enough to make the entire Douyi continent utterly devastated, so the leaders of the ancient races did not dare to attack rashly. In the end, they were all afraid of the consequences. After all, no one dares to take this kind of internal survival that involves the entire continent lightly. Still no news. An ancient race, a resident of the Yao tribe, Yao Wan, was sitting on a mat, looking out from afar, quietly looking at the location of the Holy See holy city in the distance. The young face couldn't help but grow a lot older. For nearly a month, several attempts have been made to launch a general attack on the Holy See holy city, but they have been rejected by several supreme elders. Therefore, these patriarchs are also very anxious. In this case, the longer the delay, the worse it will be for them. After all, fighting is related to the rise of morale. As a last resort, nearly half of the forces that were ambushed around the Holy See were withdrawn to their respective sect territories to stand by to prevent them from being discovered by the Holy See, so it also ushered in some rather leisurely time. Of course, Xiao Yan, Feng Waner and the others are still on their way. Brother Ji Yuan? Yao Wan's self-deprecating voice just fell, and Ji Yuan filed out at the end of the road, and his expression was rather strange, as if something major happened, and beside him, there was a man with a gloomy face. That is Soul Clan Chief Hun Tianhao. What happened? Yao Wan hurriedly got up, greeted the two, and immediately asked. Among the 7 ancient clans, the strongest are the Ji Yao, and Soul clans. The arrival of these 2 clan chiefs together may not be a good sign. In a month's time, all the elders of the Supreme Being joined hands, and they did not investigate any clues about the Holy See. But just now, a special envoy of the Holy See set out from the Holy City and sent invitation letters to the famous forces in Douyin continent. Ji Yuan explained Yao Wan's confusion, and while speaking, he took out the invitation letter he received. The Holy See is probably planning something this time. The Soul Clan's patriarch's face was extremely gloomy. Although the whole person gave off a gloomy and eerie atmosphere, he was deeply trusted by the ancient races. After all, the actions of the Soul Clan on Douyin continent were completely opposite to that of the Soul Palace. Invitation letter from the Holy See? Yao Wan took the envelope in one hand and read it carefully. Respected Patriarch of the Ancient Clan, I formally invite you as the Cardinal Archbishop of the Holy See to publicly judge the Devil of Light in the Holy City of the Holy See 10 days later. Let's witness this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity together, led by the end of the Devil's power, and pray to the angels, may the light always be with me. There are so few lines of words on the luxurious and precious envelope, but those small fonts have been added with a mysterious power, which makes people feel relaxed and happy. The power of the Holy See light attribute. And it is very likely that it came from the handwriting of the top officials of the Holy See. Judgment Demon of Light? After Yao Wan read the envelope, he said with a puzzled expression that he was quite puzzled by the Holy See's practice. Could it be that they haven't noticed the abnormality of Douyin continent? Or are they insinuating, the Demon of Light is a gifted angel in the Holy See? At the beginning, she fell in love with the Demon Emperor, the overlord of the demon world. After some bizarre experiences, after the Demon Emperor was sealed, she mistakenly thought that the Demon Emperor was killed, fell into anger and fell into the Devil's way, joined the Foreign Evil Clan, and decided to take revenge on the Holy See and the world. Blessed by the power of light and foreign evil races, the Demon of Light is formed. But not long ago, according to reliable information, she seemed to be arrested and imprisoned again by the Holy See. The Soul Clan Patriarch explained that the Soul Clan almost controls the most complete intelligence network in the entire continent, so the other 2 did not ask any further questions. According to reliable information, the Demon Emperor has been broken for a long time. I am afraid that what the Holy See did this time was aimed directly at the Demon Emperor. And the Holy See is so blatantly judging the Demon of Light, the reason is probably obvious. Ji Yuan's expression was solemn, and his voice was full of worry. Then the question is, why is the Holy See doing this? Although the Demon of Light is extremely vicious, but in the face of the Demon Emperor, shouldn't the Holy See make matters worse? Yao Yuan pointed out the problem in a straightforward manner. According to an ancient book in my Soul Clan, the Holy See is only a force left by angels in the great world to promote the grace and power of angels. And when a person's strength becomes more and more inflated, what he pursues will rise to another level. The kingdom of angels is the true pinnacle of the great thousand worlds. No one knows where they are. The only thing that can be understood is that all the upper and middle ranks of the Holy See can be promoted to the kingdom of angels with the help of some kind of ceremony. As for what kind of ceremony, that is unknown. Soul Tianhao said with a serious face. You mean, someone wants to use the Demon of Light as an excuse to lead the Demon Emperor out? After a while, in Ji Yuan's mind, a bold idea emerged uncontrollably. Probably. Soul Tianhao nodded solemnly, his expression extremely solemn. Demon Emperor. That's the overlord of the demon world. The strongest who experienced the First World War. Even if the Holy See Pope's strength is almost the same as his, the combat power is definitely not comparable. The strength of the Demon Emperor has already penetrated into the subtle. A strong man who has experienced the First World War, isn't it a latecomer who can catch up? A shock appeared in Ji Yuan's heart. When the ancient 8 clans broke the sky and came here, their 8 clan powerhouses have gone through untold hardships and finally gained a firm foothold in Douyin continent, but the Shao clan has a big heart, and went out with the power of the whole clan, trying to break through a wider world, so there are only 7 ancient clans here. However, through some obscure connections, Ji Yuan knew that not only did the Shao clan not get wiped out when they went out, but even after some bizarre experiences, Yi Ran became a giant race in the Great Thousand Worlds, far exceeding the ancient 7 clans countless times. More importantly, the Demon Emperor is related to the Shao clan. The letter writer, the red-clothed archbishop? Is it true that the Pope does not exist in the Holy See? Yao Wan rolled his eyes, saw the words at the end of the envelope, and said, "It's really strange." Sol Tianhao muttered in doubt. "No, this matter is too involved, and we must report to the Elder Taishang as soon as possible. Go." As soon as the words fell, the 3 also poured into the residence of the elders of the Medicine Clan, but the next battle will probably start completely at an extremely fast speed. The Holy See, Holy City in the distance. Kelly, you really disappointed me. The Pope sat leisurely in the Hall of the Steel, watching Kelly's steel turn into dust, but he didn't feel any loss. A maddened smile filled his lazy face. The Holy See has many branches, but except for Douyin continent and a few, the strength of other branches is too weak. Kelly's strength is still too weak. TXT download address. Phone reading. Continuing from the previous episode 2137. 10 days, say fast or not, say slow or not. The Holy See branch of Shengyuan continent. Teacher, you have a lot of thoughts, you seem to have something on your mind? Hao Near followed behind the Soul Eater, and with the help of the black robe, he could see some doubts and worries on his cheeks. The Holy See branch here is nothing to be afraid of. Even with Miller's participation, it cannot pose a threat to me. It's just that the Pope who appeared in the past seems to be quite illusory, which makes me unsure whether his identity is true or false. In the black robe of the Lord of Soul Eater, bursts of unusually eerie and majestic power emerged. This power was by no means the power Xiao Yan had seen in the past to be able to enter the cycle of reincarnation. Never mind, rescue him tomorrow, and then you all go back to Soul Eater. Duty continent, I have to go again. The Lord of Soul Eater laughed, so the place became quiet. Demon world. Recently, the Master seems to be restless. What is he doing? Forget it. The Master should have been in seclusion for a long time, and there has been no movement, so let's not bother. A series of monster beast overlords muttered outside the Yaoyuan cave, but no one dared to take a step. 10 days later, in the early morning, the sun rises. Xiao Yan had already arrived in Douyin continent for several days, but he did not reveal his identity in order to explore the terrain. Today is the day when the Holy City publicly judges the Devil of Light. Xiao Yan mixed into the Yaozu station after visiting Chao Zhuang. As for Feng Weiner and others, without the help of Xiao Xifen, they could only walk on foot. On the way, Xiao Yan, are you a human or a ghost? At this moment, Yao Yichen was quietly walking on the Yaozu trail, looking at a familiar figure suddenly appearing in front of her. She lost her voice in astonishment. Take me to see the elders of your clan. Xiao Yan took off the black robe and disintegrated the form. All right, let's go this way. After a while, Xiao Yan also successfully reunited with the elders. You guy, you are really tenacious. Ji Yuan saw Xiao Yan, and now he appeared alive again, slapped Xiao Yan on the shoulder and laughed, but it did not cause any energy ripples. In less than a month, Xiao Yan not only crawled back from the brink of death, but his strength has never been the same. I came here to accompany you to the holy city of the Holy See. Xiao Yan did not shy away and said directly, let's go, endless fire territory lord, enough to have this ability. As soon as the words fell, a group of strong men marched in the air, facing the holy city of the Holy See. Strange. This Soul Clan patriarch seems a little weird. While moving along the way, the clan lines in Xiao Yan's body exuded a faint aura of disgust, but now that the war is imminent, he didn't pay attention immediately. The Holy See is the messenger sent by the kingdom of angels to the world. To a certain extent, the strength of the Holy See on the Dodi continent has surpassed countless forces. They have overcome the hardships of the world, obtained angel wings, and cultivated their power much faster than normal humans. Their so-called beliefs do not allow anyone to blaspheme. But it is precisely because of all these things that the Holy See has become the public enemy of countless forces on the Btth continent. The Holy See Holy City is located on a rather mysterious holy mountain in Btth continent. The Holy City is full of energy from heaven and earth, and there are tens of thousands of Holy See attendants. They are all the most loyal fanatics of the Holy See, and they are also among the Holy See. The most loyal servant, he swears to follow all the orders of the Holy See without complaining, as if he had been brainwashed. Whoosh! It's really grand. Xiao Yan, the patriarchs of the 7 ancient clans came to the foot of the Holy City mountain one after another, looked up at this magnificent building built in the Holy Mountain, and a sense of insignificance emerged spontaneously. Above the Holy Mountain, the light halo is extremely tyrannical, and it vaguely decorates the Holy City with extra splendor and sacredness. All power has been ambushed around the Holy City, and the elders are hiding in the void. Everything went according to plan. The Soul Clan patriarch looked at the huge building at the end of his line of sight and whispered softly. "In that case, let's go. Let's see what medicine is being sold in this Vatican gourd." Ji Yuan took a step forward and moved gently on the mountain road where people came and went. "Go." Everyone looked at each other, so they followed. The Holy City Mountain Peak Avenue is extremely wide, but the white wind chimes are hung around the avenue, which is extremely holy, as if it was specially prepared by the Holy See to suppress ominousness and guard against evil forces. The monks of the Holy See, the remaining believers, including the reconstituted jury and the jury, are gathered together. What a big battle! When Xiao Yan looked around, he could see the uniformed guards of the Holy See, with dignified and solemn expressions, directly from the foot of the Holy City to the Holy City at the top of the Holy Mountain. The scale was astonishing. The Holy Mountain is said to be a sacred place after being bathed in endless rays of light, and the Holy City was built on the ground. At the top of the Holy City, there is a prosperous city. The people who live there are those who have made contributions in the Holy See, and after the Holy City, the high rises in the Holy See live. There is a solemn and sacred altar in the Holy City, and every public trial of the Holy See will be held there. Once a heresy is judged by the Holy See, no one has escaped the judgment since ancient times. While talking, the group walked towards the Holy City altar. Dong dong dong. After stepping through the avenues at the foot of the mountain, he entered the Holy City smoothly. This is a bustling city, with a variety of commodity styles emerging in an endless stream, but at any time, it seems unusually peaceful here. There are no disputes, no fights. It is like a perfect place that cannot exist, which is desirable. A city without disputes, without fighting. There was a hint of yearning in the beautiful eyes of the patriarch of the spiritual clan, and facing such a place, he actually felt an indescribable peace of mind. This is the unique power of the Holy See, and the light system is gentle, but these guys may have completely become their slaves and can no longer be called human beings. Ji Yuan shook his head. Is a world without disputes, troubles, and fights really good? Humans are omniscient with all kinds of emotions and 6 desires. If even these basic behaviors are lost, then there is no difference from a real walking dead. In the streets of the Holy City, in addition to the original residents, guards in white clothes are strictly inspecting from beginning to end. This level of strictness is heart-pounding. That guy is the so-called Xiao Yan. On the top of a beautiful bell tower in the Holy City in the distance, a man with a noble figure appeared here. His eyes were bright and he looked at the position where Xiao Yan was standing, and his eyes directly ignored the many noisy voices. Link to www.novelmtl.com. It was mapped onto Xiao Yan without a trace, and even with a touch of curiosity, he tried to investigate. Shush. Xiao Yan had no fear. A rare black magic light flashed in his eyes, and they confronted each other and instantly disintegrated their intentions. Ho ho ho. The two looked at each other like this, and a bell like thunder exploded, accompanied by a sacred aura, released from the beautiful clock tower. A golden dragon nurtured by the divine breath. The devilish glow in Xiao Yan's eyes faded, and he immediately walked towards the Holy City altar without looking back. Today's self, whether it is the power of the devil, or the power of thunder, wood, etc., has already reached the level of perfection, but it is not comparable to the original self. So far, the final battle of the Btth continent has slowly opened a new chapter. TXT download address, phone reading. Continuing from the previous episode 2138. Interesting guy. It's no wonder that he was able to kill my Holy See Tour angel, and seriously wound the first believer, the Son of Light and others. Black easily extinguished the roar of the golden dragon above the clock tower, and immediately laughed. The golden dragon bell tower is very powerful, but it is not used to oppose Xiao Yan. Although Xiao Yan said that he was carrying a demon, his own strength in the middle stage of the 8-star fighting immortals, even after the transformation of the Medicine Clan catastrophe, with the blessing of demon power, would definitely not be his opponent. Because that is the direct crushing of strength. And his ultimate goal is not Xiao Yan. Let Xiao Yan be so strange, under the power of his own reincarnation, he can't make any waves. Sir, everything has been prepared according to your instructions. The Holy City trial is about to begin. Below, the priest Anbil walked out gently and said respectfully. Originally, the status of the two priests should be respected even by the red-clothed archbishop, but when they faced Black, they felt a terrifying depression. I see. Where are Austin and Lu Hao now? After Black nodded, Zaidu asked. Reporting to my lord, the two of them have recovered a bit of their strength, and now they are cultivating in the back mountain. Obviously I can't participate in this trial. Priest Amber responded. If that's the case, then you're like this. Like this. Blake thought about it for a while, and then felt that something was wrong, and suddenly said to Amber in a low voice, after all, he is a person who pursues perfection, and naturally he will not allow some small things to disrupt his plans. Now in the huge Holy See, the Pope and Miller are not in red, and Lacey has disappeared inexplicably. Grown-ups, this is absolutely impossible. Lu Hao is precious as the Son of Light. If you act like this, you will be jealous of the sky and anger the gods. The power of the Son of Light, you should know better than me. Listening to Blake's crazy thoughts, Amber felt a chill on his back, and the cold sweat dripped uncontrollably. He couldn't help but exhort him. This Blake is so ambitious that he wants to move the Son of Light? Lu Hao's opportunities have run out. Do as I say, otherwise. After Black finished speaking, a cold killing intent swept out, easily removing Amber's concerns, and the place restored its quietness. In the Holy See, the other two red-clothed archbishops and the Pope are very fond of the Child of Light, but they are different. From some ancient books, I have found that the divine mark of the Child of Light seems to only need the powerhouse with angel wings. It can be controlled. In the sky of the Holy City, the scorching sun hangs high, and the endless brilliance of the sun scatters down, bathing in countless figures. The unspeakable warmth and holiness make people's hearts become quiet for a while. What a weird altar. What is the Holy See doing? Didn't you say judge the demon of light? What about the demon of light? At this time, tens of thousands of powerful people gathered in the altar of the Holy City. Their eyes were filled with a rare excitement, and their eyes were fixed on the priestess at the center of the altar, Yuri. The center of the altar is raised high, and a 10 cross several meters in size is suspended high in the sky, which is extremely mysterious. Above the cross, there are traces of pure white light beams, and even a faint white flame, looming, making people admire them from the bottom of their hearts. The Holy See believes in angels, believes in light, and cannot tolerate all filth in their eyes. Those who are stained with filth must be imprisoned on the Holy Cross, corrode the flesh with the divine power of light, and bake the soul with the flame of light, in order to help them free from sin. This is the judgment of the Holy See since ancient times, and it will never change. This is the so-called holy sentence, which is specially used to punish heretics. It's cruel enough. Xiao Yan watched the priestess Yuri quietly close her eyes, and did not become emotional because of the large number of people here and the noisy voice, and snorted coldly when thinking of the style of the Holy See trial. The guys in the Holy See are even weirder than the pedantic elders in our respective races. The patriarch of the Thunder Clan shook his head and said, "Senior, I hope you don't fall into their trap." Xiao Yan looked indifferent, sitting on the seat around the altar, looking at the cross and the blue sky, waiting leisurely for the trial to begin. From the moment he entered the Holy Mountain and Holy City, Xiao Yan noticed that there were sacred wind chimes everywhere, guard judgments and so on. Among them, there is a sacred golden dragon in the Holy City. If the Demon Emperor comes here, I am afraid they will face an unprecedented crisis. After all, Xiao Yan knew that if he really came, with the arrogance of the Demon Emperor, he would naturally not bring soldiers and soldiers from the demon world, and would definitely go to the meeting alone. However, If this is the case, it is also in the Holy See's favor. These filthy angels, I am afraid they want to use the life of the overlord of the demon world, the demon emperor, to pave the way for them to advance to the kingdom of angels. At this moment, the entire holy city seems to be unusually noisy. Countless major forces have arrived, and the powerhouses in the Holy See are also vigilant here. Be quiet. The commotion did not last long. The high-pitched voice of the priestess emerged, and immediately outside the altar, several senior officials of the Holy See walked over, and there were more people beside the priestess Yuri. The remaining believers, and a strange man in red. The hierarchy in the Holy See is strict, and the color of the clothes greatly determines the status and strength. In red clothes, only 3 red-clothed archbishops in the entire Holy See are qualified to wear them. This guy, such strong energy fluctuations. Just by looking at it this way, the demonic power in Xiaoyan's body has the desire to move, and even exudes a rather hot aura. Among the Holy See, the head of the 3 cardinal archbishops is Blake. It is said that the strength entered the double reincarnation level long ago. Sol Tianhao, the head of the Soul clan, explained. Gulu, double reincarnation? Then, when using angel wings, under its increase, isn't his strength? At this time, Xiaoyan felt a huge wave in his heart, which could not be calmed down for a long time. No, you are wrong. The boost of angel wings is only applicable to the first level of reincarnation. After the first level of reincarnation, the wings of angels will be used, and only the combat power will be increased, and the strength will not be increased, because they do not have the blessing of the kingdom of angels. As for Lacey's situation before, I'm afraid it has something to do with the power of the Son of Light. Jiu Yuan said, I don't know much about this kind of thing. Well, look at it. Xiaoyan nodded. The crowd did not continue their conversation, and looked at the people above the altar intently. However, Xiaoyan was also a little puzzled. He had done so many disasters to the Holy See. Why didn't they take the lead in arresting him? Or, they are strong enough to wipe out everyone here? If so, this is probably too scary. Today is the public judgment day of our Holy See. Welcome to the Holy City of the Holy See. Here, you will be fortunate enough to witness that it comes from above, God's judgment. At the same time, you can also see the perfect scene of evil being completely annihilated under the divine light. Blake stepped out, clasped his hands together. An unusually flickering white pattern between his eyebrows suddenly fell off, and immediately flew across the sky with the momentum of lightning. After the breath, above the sky, strips of milky white sacred beams of light fell silently. A full 10, covering all the void outside the entire holy city. It seems that under this power, the belief in their hearts began to shake. Please remember the first domain name of this book. Mobile version update fastest URL. Continuing from the previous episode 2139. Let's start. After doing all this, looking at the leaders of the various forces who suddenly became obedient, Blake quietly returned to the altar and said lightly to the priestess Yuri. He just gave others a warning. Now that his goal has been achieved, he naturally handed over the trial to the priestess. Yes, Lord Bishop. Priest Yuri Wenya smiled. A rare temptation exuded from her seductive red lips, and the black dress revealed an extremely terrifying wave. Come on, bring me the demon of light. The high-pitched voice was harsh, but the voice shook the bodies of countless strong men. All the powerhouses here are prominent figures in Douyin continent, but they have reached a consensus at this moment, and everything will only be led by the patriarchs of the ancient races, and they will completely attack the Holy See. All they need is an excuse, a fuse, and a qualified leader. The trial of the Demon of Light is undoubtedly the best fuse. This battle has long been unavoidable, and the winner is just a matter of time. Wong buzzing. The voice of the priestess fell, and the inquisitors of the Holy See wearing milky white light helmets brought out the Demon of Light from the underground of the Holy City in the distance, from the cage prison. Dong, dong, dong. A voice. A void outside the altar suddenly cracked open, and dozens of burly and stern-looking judges walked towards the altar, holding a weak woman with scars all over her body. The Devil of Light. Xiaoyan couldn't help sighing when he looked at that haggard figure. The current Demon of Light, his complexion is as pale as earth, his hair has already lost all luster, and many scarlet bloodstains appear in his eyes, nose, and ears, and he may have been severely tortured. On its body, the ankles, arms, and the sacred chains soaked in the holy fire of light, completely imprisoned the body and even the soul of the demon of light, making it face the baking of holy power every moment, and the pain is endless. Now she is no different from a prisoner. Heavenmark, the demon of light murmured weakly, still muttering the name of the demon emperor at the corner of his mouth. She admits that she has done a lot of wrong things, but now she has put her life and death aside for a long time. Her wish is just to take a look at the demon emperor when her soul is scattered. Just a glance is enough, and there is no more extravagance. Punishment. Without the slightest mercy, the priestess shouted loudly. Da da da. The judges showed no mercy, dragging the dying body of the demon of light from left to right, regardless of his life or death, and suddenly approached the altar and cross, leaving a rather bleak asterisk trace along the way, making people feel shocking. The Holy See hates evil and heresies very much. In their eyes, the heretics they capture have no human rights, and they can only be trampled on like ants. These beasts. Looking at this scene, Xiaoyan's chest slowly rose and rolled. A smear of boundless anger filled his mind and eyes. From the demon fate cave, Xiaoyan has more or less learned about the love-hate relationship between the demon emperor and the demon of light Lu Yun. In addition to his promise to the demon emperor, he must resolve this matter if he has a chance. Now that Lu Yun has ended up like this, Xiaoyan couldn't help but go wild. Peeved. Even if it was a woman with no power to tie the chicken, the judge did not hesitate to completely bind the body of the demon of light to the cross, and the divine chain integrated her body and the cross into one. With his hands open, he was bound by the sacred chains, a trace of the sacred imprint that penetrated into his soul, constantly touching the demon of light, keeping him awake and not falling into a coma. On top of her feet, fitting the root of the cross, a milky white arc of light is continuously burning and baking the evil power in her body. At this time, the demon of light was in great pain, and his face was pale and almost twisted, but she had already seen through life and death, and this kind of torture on the flesh had no effect on her. If it wasn't for the fact that she had always had a bit of obsession in her heart, I'm afraid she would have died now. The cross was lifted into the sky, and the demon of light in such a miserable state was extremely conspicuous under the eyes of countless powerhouses. The endless brilliance fell on her body, more like bursts of red-hot irons touching her hard skin, above the soul. That kind of pain and torture is outrageous. Demon of light, can you plead guilty? Black wriggled, stepped into the air, and asked the demon of light in front of the cross. Confess? What am I to blame? The demon of light reluctantly opened her eyes wide and looked at Blake, which was her rare stubbornness. You were originally a high-ranking member of the Holy See in Douyin Continent, but then you betrayed my Holy See and joined the evil race outside the territory, doing things that people and gods are indignant about. With all these evil deeds, you are a heretic in my Holy See. Blake's high-pitched voice was unusually loud, and it was transmitted to the minds of every strong man, and some of the weaker ones actually trembled from the shock. I plead guilty to defecting from the Holy See. Everything I know about the extraterritorial evil clan information, I have told you everything. As for other crimes, don't force the blame on me. The demon of light was on the sacred rack and said feebly. What nonsense. Today, I will do another bright act to kill you completely. Declare the power of my Holy See to the world. Blake laughed, and the milky white energy ripples spread violently, turning into countless sacred halos, lingering the entire holy city. The entire holy city is splendid with gold and blue, and the lark formed by condensed milky white filaments surrounds the holy city, making it extremely sacred. Saint. Just like the sound of a Hong bell, it was quickly passed out. Wong buzzing, the deafening loud sound blasted through the sky, and countless filaments of light were like rainbow rays, falling from the sky, accompanied by the scorching sun's fire, ready to lean on the skin of the demon of light. The demon of light that was riddled with holes was approached by this unusually sacred aura, and there was only the last trace of evil power left in his body, and an unprecedented fear erupted. At this moment, countless people raised their heads, their eyes filled with an unbelievable look, and they stared blankly at the sacred punishment in the sky. The power of the holy punishment is enough to obliterate the reincarnation, and it made his soul tremble for a while. Tianhen, it seems that we have no fate. Whispered softly, the delicate body of the demon of light began to slacken. The power contained in the holy punishment was definitely not something he could handle. In her body, the power of evil has not been completely eliminated, so when she is touched by this extreme divine aura, there is only one fate. All forms and spirits are destroyed. Crack! A sound. Just when the sacred light silk turned into a flood and beast like this, trying to obliterate the body and soul of the demon that purifies the light, a thin figure suddenly stood in the sky. Shattered. At this moment, countless people showed a sense of horror. At present, they were sluggishly looking at the thin black shadow above the sky, and their hearts could not calm down for a long time. In that guy's body, an unruly force, like a demon unparalleled in the world, quickly woke up. Please remember the first domain name of this book. Mobile version update fastest URL.